بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي. Respected brothers, respected Imam, I greet you with the wonderful greeting of Islam. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. As you have seen the topic is unity in theory and action. And I received a beautiful message from our Honorable Shaykh Saadullah this morning. He says, when I looked at the topic, it is appreciated because we speak about unity, we have intentions, but nobody is acting upon it. So we're going to try and condense this within 10 minutes, as I was told. I'm not going to go into a lot of detail that I wanted to do, and that is to give us a background as to why the Islamic global ummah is in such a disarray that we are in today. And if anybody wants to find out really why the Arab states are in the situation that they are in, then you can actually Google and you can go onto the Sykes-Picot Agreement, what they have done since World War I, 1914, and that is how to divide this ummah. And that was the whole purpose: divide and rule, break them up, remove the Khilafat from them, because they knew if the Khilafat stayed and we have a Khalifa and the Muslim Ummah united, will be the end of the Western and European world. But for us as Muslims right here in this part of the world, if we want to talk about global unity, we have to look at 5 basic principles that we can build our unity on. And that is very much starting with the Holy Quran. We have abandoned our rules regarding unity within the Holy Quran. You know, we've often read, وَاعْتَصِمُوا بِحَبْلِ اللَّهِ جَمِيعًا, and that is hold on to the Holy Quran, and we stop there. We must not stop at that particular point. We must take it beyond that. وَاعْتَصِمُوا بِحَبْلِ اللَّهِ جَمِيعًا وَلَا تَفَرَّقُوا. Then the part of the verse that we omit is وَاذْكُرُوا نِعْمَةَ اللَّهِ عَلَيْكُمْ إِذْ كُنْتُمْ أَعْدَاءً فَأَلَّفَ بَيْنَ قُلُوبِكُمْ. That part, that Allah has brought unity in your hearts, Allah has brought that togetherness in your hearts, that in another verse in the Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is addressing Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam and those conflicting tribes that were there, telling them, لو أنفقت ما في الأرض جميعا ما ألفت بين قلوبهم ولكن الله ألف بينهم. If you want to bring about the entire treasures of the world, to buy that love for one another in your hearts, you will never be able to do so. One word that I would like to just elaborate on, and that is إِنَّمَا الْمُؤْمِنُونَ إِخْوَةٌ. What is the meaning of the word ikhwa? Ikhwa, we take it brotherhood. But what does that really mean? If you take the Arabic word of ikhwa and you take from where it is taken, it means for somebody to mean good for somebody else all the time. And if we can live by that interpretation, that definition of the word ikhwa, then we are on the right path, because we always want good for the next person. Secondly, sincerity of intention. You cannot do anything. Bear in mind that unity amongst the ummah, striving for it, is an act of worship. It's an act of ibadah. And no act of ibadah is accepted by Allah if there is no sincerity in it. Therefore, Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will accept any deed from us as long as it is sincere for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Inna Allah la yaqbalu min al-amal illa ma khalasa lah. For the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Today we say our intention is to have unity, but what about satisfying Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Believe you me, my dear brothers and sisters, if the entire ummah, this global ummah, can come together on the basis of principles stipulated in our Sharia, then believe you me, Palestine will be liberated tomorrow. Masjid al-Aqsa will be liberated tomorrow. What is happening to Sudan? What is happening in Jordan? What is happening in Iraq? What is happening in Syria? All over, they have divided them strategically by a plan of action to eliminate the Ottoman Empire, because the Ottoman Empire was the center of the rule. And when they eliminated that, they managed to bring about an ummah that is divided. So what happens in Palestine, what happens in Syria, what happens to the other part of the world of the Muslims, we feel absolutely nothing. Why? Because they have managed to divide us, but they cannot divide our hearts. Our hearts must be together, and we must feel for one another. True brotherhood and sisterhood. True brotherhood, we already said, what is the meaning of ikhwa? If you understand our equality, a lot of us live by the superiority today. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala taught us through Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, كلكم لآدم وآدم من تراب لا فضل لعربي على عجمي إلا بتقوى الله. Look at the superiority of the Arabs today. They think they are so much better than others in the world. Then Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam made that statement on the basis of him understanding the Arab nation. لا فضل لعربي على عجمي إلا بتقوى الله سبحانه وتعالى. And that is when we say we are true to our brothers. Try and forgive one another. Where are we from the forgiveness of our brotherhood? We call it true brotherhood and sisterhood. Forgive one another. Pray for one another. Be loyal and sincere to one another. If this global ummah can live like that, then we are really bringing action into our unity, and we're trying to save this ummah from where we are. Then there is the principle of shura. We don't consult anymore. The consultation has gone out of our system, and yet shura is part of our principles of our system of Islam. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, as stated by Abu Hurairah radiallahu anh, and stated by many of the companions, we have never seen a man more consultative than Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Never used his title as I am the Nabi, I am the Rasul, what I say must go. No. Nowadays is, I have the money, I have the title, I have this, what I say must go. Never mind if it's against the Sharia. Never mind if it's against the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam used to consult with his people and take even the words of Salman al-Farisi, who was not an Arab, who was a Persian, take his word in some. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam was the most kind-hearted person. فَبِمَا رَحْمَةٍ مِّنَ اللَّهِ لِنْتَ لَهُمْ وَلَوْ كُنْتَ فَظًّا غَلِيظَ الْقَلْبِ لَانْفَضُّوا مِنْ حَوْلِكَ. If you were a harsh-hearted man and you never consulted with anyone, they would have gone away and dispersed away from you. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Then there is the adab al-ikhtilaf. Differences will there be. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions this difference in the Quran. إِنَّا خَلَقْنَاكُم مِّن ذَكَرٍ وَأُنثَىٰ وَجَعَلْنَاكُمْ شُعُوبًا وَقَبَائِلَ لِتَعَارَفُوا. I have created you into different nations and tribes so that you may know and understand one another. Imagine, we all had to be one color. We all had to speak the same language. We all had to eat the same food. Imagine it, life would have been boring. But here Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying to us, I have created you nations. I have created you into different tribes. So you must respect the values of one another. Not just respect one another, respect the values of one another. The value that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants us to respect is our deen. Respect the value of the next person. Respect the value. Respect the ethnicity. But respect the value of more than anything else. Adabul ikhtilaf. And that is when we must have the ethics of our differences, difference of opinion. Today, what I say, my opinion, must be imposed on the views of others. We don't regard that. We lobby for support. We lobby for support, even if my view is not according to the Sharia. And if I have the majority on my side, that must go. My dear brothers and sisters, since when does the majority rule over the Quran? Since when does the majority rule over the Sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam? The Islamic da'wah mission is the most important part. And the da'wah mission is not by word. But da'wah mission for all of us in this world today as Muslims, we must be able to practice our deen in a way that it will present the Islamic views and values to the people. Do not say one thing and do something different. Do not say I'm a Muslim and I'm a mu'min and you want to live like a Christian and you want to live like somebody else. No. Be a Muslim. Be proud of your identity. You can be South African. You can be American. You can be European. You can be Brazilian. But at the end of the day, if you are Muslim, then we are bound together. Be proud of your identity. Remember, even our masajid has not been spared the differences that happens in our communities. Respect the masajid. وَأَنَّ الْمَسَاجِدَ لِلَّهِ. It belongs to Allah. Operate it under the banner of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. No, my dear brothers and sisters, we find today the courtrooms are full with Muslims fighting Muslims. The courtrooms are full with marriages being broken down. The courtrooms are full with children fighting parents. We need to get that away and live as true Muslims, starting from the home. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us understand who the internal enemy is, who is the external enemy. Let us be united through our purpose for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and know and understand our objectives in this world. And by doing so, we must return to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's commands. Ya ayyuha alladhina amanu in tansurullaha yansurkum wa yuthabbit aqdamakum والذين معه أشداء على الكفار رحماء بينهم. If you turn to Allah and obey Allah's laws, your victory will come. They might think that the nasr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is far away. إنهم يرونه بعيدا وَنَرَاهُ قَرِيبًا. And we see it close. The victory of Allah is here. This is the era of Islam, my dear brothers and sisters. The victory for Muslims is close by. نَصْرٌ مِّنَ اللَّهِ وَفَتْحٌ قَرِيبٌ. It's coming. Masjid al-Aqsa will be liberated. Our Palestinians brothers will be liberated. That 75 years is going to mean a lot for all of us to liberate Masjid al-Aqsa and to bring back the unity of the Muslims as a global ummah. But remember, let us end of this. إِنَّ اللَّهَ لَا يُغَيِّرُ مَا بِقَوْمٍ حَتَّى يُغَيِّرُ مَا بِأَنفُسِهِمْ. Allah is not going to change our condition unless we change our condition ourselves. وآخر دعوانا عن الحمد لله رب العالمين.